Good morning. Welcome to our service this morning. Welcome to the Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Leslie Takahashi, and my pronouns are she and her. We are so glad to welcome you to this special service presented by our Economic Justice Task Force. For those visiting this congregation, we are so glad to have you join us, and if you're visiting with us today, we hope that you will fill out a visitor's card, and that includes those of you online. We have one online as well, and we hope that you will let us know that you were here because we want to know that. Next month, we'll have a session of our Connecting You and MDU-UC gathering, which helps those who are new to our community learn a little bit more about who we are and what we do here. And on the first Sunday of every month, we have an opportunity for people to make the commitments of membership. To find out what's happening here, you can go to our website. There's a lot going on this week in particular. Many of us are concerned about the state of our democracy, and we know that local elections are important. MDU-UC is part of a multi-faith, multiracial, faith-based organizing group called Faith in Action East Bay, and we are bringing a virtual forum for the open seats for the county supervisor race this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Virtually online. Please plan to attend and to bring several of your neighbors. Even if your district is not one of the ones with an open seat, we will be raising issues of importance to our county and our values. Next weekend, we are celebrating the lives of 3 of our members with memorial gatherings, and we are in need of some assistance with these. If you can help, especially with next Sunday's service for longtime member Eleanor Greenlee, please contact Jane Russell or our intern minister, Michael Macias. Please also be in touch with me or with Michael if a listening ear or financial assistance would be helpful in these times. Asking is a gift you give to our community, and welcome. It's good to be together.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Chris Carter. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he, him, and his. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community, and we begin our services by reading our mission together, which will be on the screen. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the human family, transform ourselves and our world. Welcome to our service. We are so glad to have you with us, and we hope that you are keeping safe. Please plan, if you can, to stay and say hello as we prepare for our forum this afternoon. The first of our forums is today, where we will hear from our president and lead minister. We will talk about the gap that we have in filling next year's operating budget and review the slate of candidates that the nominating committee has worked hard to bring us. If you have not yet pledged, please know that we truly need to know so that we can continue our planning. If you have pledged, thank you. If you are new and you want to learn about pledging, please see me or other board members after the service. We will have a second forum next Sunday, May 22nd, to review the detail of the budget that the congregation will be voting on June the 5th. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about context, but next week we'll get into the details of a budget, again, that will be up for vote on the 5th of June. So welcome. It's good to be together.
So as we focus on this service about connection and caring, we invite you to take a moment and to try out the elbow bumps and other ways of greeting one another. If you're online and you're on our YouTube channel or one of our other social media platforms, say hello in the chat. We're glad to greet each other.
Good morning. I'm Mary Helen Binger. And the words for our chalice lighting this morning are from Coretta Scott King, who said, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members."
Today I want to share a story with you about a little girl and the very special coat that was homemade with lots of love, even though she and her family had very little money or resources. This is a story that shows us the power of love when we choose to do things for each other that bring joy, even if it means we have to do a lot of work.
I think, though, that we need a little help. So I'd like to invite all of the children to come forward to help us out. And I promise you're going to get something. I don't know, you might like it.
You guys can come sit right here, okay? Now I'm gonna hold the microphone, but you guys can come sit right here. Come sit on the floor right here. Back through the years, I go wandering back to the seasons of my youth. I recall a box of rags that someone gave us and how my mama put the rags to use.
They were rags of many colors, but every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall.
Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors, and I was so proud of.
As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible that she had heard about a coat of many colors Joseph wore. And then she said, "I hope this coat will bring you good luck and happiness." And I just couldn't wait to wear it, and Mama blessed it with a kiss.
My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly.
Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be. In my coat of many colors, my mama made for me.
So with the patches on my breeches and holes in both my shoes, in my coat of many colors, I hurried off to school.
Just to find the others laughing and making fun of me in my coat of many colors that Mama made for me.
And oh, I couldn't understand it. I felt I was rich, and I told them of the love my mama sewed in every stitch.
And I told them of the story Mama told me while she sewed, and how my coat of many colors was worth more than all their clothes.
But they didn't understand it, and I tried to make them see that one is only poor only if they choose to be.
Now I know we had no money, but I was rich as I could be. In my coat of many colors, my mama made for me.
Made
just for me.
And now I invite our physical and virtual congregation to sing the children to their education classes as they learn to use love to sew their own coats of many colors for our greater world. As you go, may joy surround you. As you go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Good morning. We would like to share with you the words of Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker in her work, Choose to Bless the World. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world.
The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting.
Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love.
Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love.
You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world.
The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide.
There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled.
Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage.
The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation.
More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared,
the inheritance passed on,
the companionship of struggle,
the importance of keeping faith,
the life of ritual and praise,
the comfort of human friendship,
the company of earth,
the chorus of life welcoming you.
None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility
waiting.
We've come to the part in our service where we uplift the joys of this community and collectively hold the sorrows that are too much for any of us to bear. Jean Wilcox asks that we light a candle of concern for her and her husband, David. They both contracted COVID-19. Sharon Solstice asks that we light a candle of joy. After 4.5 years of dialysis with a near-death event, her nephew's rescheduled to receive a kidney from an altruistic donor. This means a total, This means a total stranger is donating a kidney so someone like Matt can have a normal life. Prayers for easy recoveries for both. This morning, I'm asking Reverend Leslie to light a candle of sorrow for the 13 victims of the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York, which includes 10 lives that were tragically lost. May we hold them and their loved ones in love and prayer. This morning, Reverend Leslie asked that we light a candle of joy for all the staff birthdays this month: Mark, Reverend Rodney, and Indigo. And Michael. Finally, I'm asking Reverend Leslie to light 2 final candles. The first represents all the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in our collective consciousness. The second, a gentle reminder that we are the keepers of love and justice in this one imperfect but important world.
Words are very powerful. They have the ability to leave lasting marks on those which we communicate. Chosen carefully, they can lift a person from the depths of despair or inspire hope when everything else seems lost. The work of supporting unhoused families and women seeking refuge from abusive lives is important in our country and our county specifically. Facilities like the Monument Crisis Center and Trinity Center provide resources to empower people coming out of difficult situations in their own lives. Today, we are giving each of you an opportunity to use the power of your words to inspire and provide hope to those in need. As Unitarian Universalists, we are this worldly as opposed to being otherworldly, valuing working toward the beloved community in this life rather than worrying about an existential next one. In a moment, after a brief grounding exercise, you will be asked to write some words on a piece of paper that was passed out to you at the beginning of service. Those words will be collected and delivered to our Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County for inclusion in hygiene kits for women and families in need. If you don't have a pen and paper, in a moment, I bet if you raise your hand, someone around us will give you one. But for now, I would like to invite all of us, even those online, who will also have an equal opportunity to participate, into a spirit of deep reflection, focus, and meditation. I would like to invite us all to use our imagination and set our feet firmly on the ground. I would like us all to imagine that our feet are deeply connected to the ground. Picture, if you want, your legs extending deep into the earth like the roots of a tree. This connection brings us into contact with all of those who came before us and all of the wisdom they embodied and collected in their own lives. There is strength and power in the earth. Now, if you can, if you will, and you are able and willing, imagine that those things, the strength, the wisdom, imagine those things coming back up through your legs, from the ground, into your body, flowing through it. Picture it flowing through each of your legs, your torso, your chest, and finally making its way to your head. Imagine all of that wisdom and love and connection bursting into the atmosphere above you, connecting you to the sky, the stars, the sun and moon. It is a reminder that we are all stardust. We are all connected and part of something much bigger than ourselves. Now I welcome you to think about a time in your life when you were liberated. It could have been from a bad relationship, a difficult job, an addiction, or anything that freed your mind and your spirit. Hold on to that memory. Reflect for a moment on what the words were that you said to yourself, words that were comforting and affirming. Was there an image or words that provided you specific strength and connection? Perhaps it was a drawing, a piece of art, or a picture. Like you, the families of the Trinity Center and Monument Crisis Center need liberation. These are the people that will receive your cards. For those of you joining us physically, please take a few minutes while Brett plays music to write your words or draw a picture of inspiration and hope on the paper in front of you. For those of you joining us online, there is a web link that we will copy into the YouTube chat, and it will take you to an online form that allows you to document your words, and those will be printed out and collected after the service. Let us join one another in this ritual of community and care, and remember that love liberates us all. This is your time to share your own words of affirmation and a time to tell others about their own worth. Apologies to our online participants. We have the link now so you can participate as well. Now that we have had a chance to write our messages of liberation and love down, let us take a few minutes to focus positive thoughts and energy on your paper, allowing all of us to feel a gift of gratitude for the experience that allows us to empathize with people in difficult situations. I welcome you to end this ritual as we began it, feet grounded on the floor, and a reminder that we as Unitarian Universalists all value working toward the beloved community in this life rather than focusing on an afterlife. May these notes find their way to the intended owner and bring them healing and hope. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Good morning. My name is Nasa Matt. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and I use she, her pronouns. Today, I would like to share with you a story about going to my grandparents' church a few months ago. I was coerced by them into attending a Sunday service at their lovely church in Petaluma while I was visiting, and my grandmother insisted she had to go because there was an important volunteer campaign that she was helping with, and she needed to collect the items that were at the church. And so I reluctantly went with them, trying to support them and be in their space, and I was gratefully surprised when I got there that this volunteer campaign that my grandmother was working on had a catchphrase of "live generously." T-shirts, posters, it was everywhere. And the message was that the more we give to others, the more fulfilled we are individually. On that note, we are still collecting pledges, and if you have not yet pledged yet, please do so now. Even a zero pledge helps us plan for the upcoming church year. And for those of you who have already pledged, we are deeply grateful. Thank you for your commitment to our community. It's time for us to collect our offering, and there are a couple ways that this happens. We'll have some baskets for those of you that are here in the sanctuary with us, and there is also a way to donate online. If you go to our website, mduuc.org, and press the Give Now button, that is another option. You can also do your pledge there, just saying. I would like to wrap this up with a quote from artist Pablo Picasso. "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." The ushers will now come forward to collect our offerings. Please join me in reciting the dedication of the offering. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
Today's chalice lighting by Coretta Scott King, the one that said that the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members, is one that I really took to heart. Many members of this congregation try to embody the value of compassionate community on the regular. However, it isn't always the easiest thing to do. Many of us, after all, are raised in environments that perpetuate an individualistic focus that diminishes our sense of greater connection and community. This dilution of empathy can sometimes empower us to feel good about our efforts in justice making so long as we are allowed to remain relatively comfortable. For example, we can gather for a meal together, but don't ask me to prepare it. Or yes, of course I'll come to the Bid for Love auction event next week, but I think I'm going to skip the youth service since it won't pertain to me anyway. Or maybe it's, yes, I'll show up to voice my disdain for the latest racial equity effort of the congregation, but I can't be bothered to sit in my discomfort and really question where that discomfort comes from. Or maybe it's, yes, I'll support the Rainbow Community Center, but the singular use of the pronoun they is just too much to ask of me. Now, before anyone feels offended or thinks that I'm calling people out in a shameful way from the pulpit, I want to be very clear. I am. I'm calling myself out. These are all things that I have done in the past or continue to do in my present, even in my best moments. If you should find commonality in any of these personal examples, welcome. You are human, you are complex. We are all part of a community, and compassion is of paramount importance. This doesn't mean that we get to do anything we want or say anything we want, but it does mean that we can choose connection and empathy and care about our interactions, even if we don't quite fully understand everything. I believe as Unitarian Universalists, we know that the path to our collective salvation is long and tedious, and it's messy, messy, messy. We always say that, but it's like we forget about it when it actually happens. I believe a huge part of community care and connection is to embrace the mess, not to be afraid of it. There likely isn't some mystical time of rapture or messianic emergence without our active and careful participation in it. We are a congregation dedicated to the works of the larger world, and there are so many ways to engage, including inside our own community. I'm very grateful to the members of the Economic, Food, and Housing Justice Ministry team who've contributed to the planning, execution, and support of the service and the works of the church. Here now are some of those people telling us how their compassionate engagement has helped them in community building.
Hello, my name is Rana Miller Owen. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I want to share an experience I had helping winter nights. The last time I helped, there was a young girl who wanted to do some activities with me. I taught her how to crochet, starting with the chain stitch and then doing single crochet. She went wild with it and created her own little purse right then. I was amazed at her creativity, and it was a wonderful night that I will always remember.
Hello, my name is Leslie Rywich, and I want to tell you, when I lived in Sacramento, I was a caseworker at a transitional housing program very much like the one we have here at Trinity. The joy, the wonderful feeling a family has when they're chosen to have help in learning how to take care of their own place after living with their children in their car or out on their street or in a shelter. It's just an overwhelming, wonderful feeling to be involved in a program like that. I hope all of you have an opportunity to experience that kind of feeling and connection.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carl Livengood, and what I'm going to be talking about is my experience as the lead cook for Winter Nights. I've sort of lost count, but I think 3 or 4 times over the past number of years. It's been a very interesting and rewarding experience in that I'm actually cooking a meal and helping organize others to prepare it. So I'm doing something physical and which I like to do, and it's something that is providing warm food for people in need. And for me, this has been a wonderful experience. And feeding the people and sitting down and talking with them at dinner is also part of that experience. So it's more than just the cooking and so forth, but it's the meeting of the folks and having a little time with them while they're eating at the table. The other thing that happens is we create a small group of folks working together.
Hello, I'm Mary Helen Binger, and I am really delighted to share with you my experience working with the Winter Nights program. I joined it this year as part of 2 dinner teams. Not even the lead, just a humble part of the process of putting together a simple meal for the people that we're serving. It was a great joy to be a small part of a program to provide housing and stability for families in our county, to be part of something larger than myself, something that the church involved the whole church community, and in fact involved the larger interfaith community in Contra Costa County. I appreciated the clear boundaries that were laid down for us, which reminded me of my limited role. I was there just to put together a simple dinner and serve it to the people, and maybe sit and have some conversations with them or not. My role was limited, and it was I needed to remember that I wasn't there to rescue anyone. The other great joy was working with other people on the dinner team. You know, I live alone, as many of us do, I think, and it was really a delight to be cooking with other people, to be sharing tasks, and that was especially true this year because my granddaughter Raven came and joined me in one of those dinners and brought one of her friends that I was just getting to know. And it was really wonderful watching the 2 of them pitch in ways that were unique to them, doing things that they could do to contribute to this worthy task.
I'm Peter Morse, pronouns he, him, and I'm gay. During COVID, I am delivering food from the Monument Crisis Center to LGBTQ plus clients of the Rainbow Community Center. When delivering, I generally try to check in on the health and happiness of these clients. However, the latter isn't always easy to gauge, as folks are generally happy for the food and generally happy to see someone. 2 of my deliveries are approaching 100 years of age. One lives in a tidy public housing community, and another in a weather-worn home along the bay margins. Their life stories are well worth publishing, but they're outliving their friends and families. I learned recently that the first question a South Korean may ask anyone is their age, as they generally revere those senior to themselves, an admirable cultural trait as I age. The hunger rate in South Korea is 2.5%. For the US, it's 10.5%. To address this staggering hunger problem that we have both locally and in the US, I can think of no better policy than implementing a basic minimum income so people could afford to feed themselves. Thank you.
Hello. A few years ago, I volunteered for White Pony Express. It was founded by the minister of Sufism reoriented in Walnut Creek. She realized that there was both hunger and food abundance in the county, but no connection between them. So White Pony Express was founded as a nonprofit, and they became the Ponies Express to pick up, sort, and deliver food by cars and trucks. They collect and accept donations of excess inventory from grocery stores, restaurants, and other food sources. They've also expanded into donations of clothes, books, and toys. They give to 120,000 families each year. By volunteering for them, I was touched by the need for food in this affluent county. My partner and I delivered to the Trinity Center, Salvation Army, senior adult centers from Pittsburgh to Orinda, churches, and shelters. I'm grateful to have become aware of the reality of the need and glad I could contribute a few years to the effort to make a difference in people's lives. Thank you. Goodbye.
Good morning. My name is Jean Evans. My pronouns are she and her. A few years ago, while living in New York, I participated in an outreach program to the homeless in New York City called Midnight Run. Along with other members of my local UU church, we would regularly drive into Manhattan, take food, clothing, and toiletries to a few predetermined locations. At each stop, there would be a group of people waiting for us. The leader of the run would stress to us repeatedly how the most important thing we gave these people was human connection, since most of the time people living on the street are ignored, made to feel invisible, they're dehumanized. So after distributing food and clothing, we spent a good chunk of time just chatting with and listening to folks and delivered that most important commodity of all, human connection. During those conversations, I'd always be struck by how similar we were. I also learned how completely devastating it is not to have housing. During the Winter Nights program at MDU-UC last month, I had opportunities to connect with the people who were being temporarily housed here. One of my favorite moments happened after sharing meatloaf and conversation with a mother and her 8-year-old son. The boy asked me if after dinner I wanted to play. I said, sure. And soon we were tossing a ball back and forth across Borton Hall. After a few minutes, his mother joined us and we played a short game of keep away. There was laughing, and for a little while, there was most certainly connection and community.
As you can see, MDUUC is deeply connected to our county organizations like Trinity Center, Monument Crisis, Winter Nights, Pony Express, the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County, Faith in Action East Bay, and so many others. The works of this congregation are based on empathy and compassion. They aren't accidental. It is intentional work that starts in the hearts of each of you. In one way or another, this kind of service work can only happen when our egos are engaged and our individualism is sacrificed. Last year, a group of public health and psychological researchers from Israel, Yale, and Switzerland collaborated on a review of COVID-19 public health measures that combat the transmission of the virus. They scored a sample of 34 countries against Hofstede's individualism scale, and then worked to correlate the country's level of individualism to their COVID-19 deaths per million. I bet you never thought you'd see a scientific graph in church. I love being UU. This graph shows you that correlation. The line is demonstrating that even when controlling for confounding multiple variables in their model, the countries with high individualism experience the highest rates of COVID deaths and transmissions, infections. Both of those were statistically significant. Our care for one another has real-world impact. It can literally be life-saving. And this is but one socio-epidemiologic study of its kind that demonstrates the importance of combating unchecked individualism at the expense of our greater community. Empathy and compassion are key tools in all of us understanding the plight of others. We need more of this highly empathetic feels to combat this individualistic society. Without it, horrible hate crimes like those experienced in the community of Buffalo, New York yesterday are doomed to repeat themselves. I know when I think about these events and others, my sense of overwhelm begins to rise up, and if I'm not careful, it could lead me to inactivity or apathy. I know that if I lean into my care for this community, I can prepare a meal. I know that I will see the value of showing up for our youth. I know that I can combat my own internal racial and gender and sexuality biases and ignorance through self-reflection. Our faith is so cool. It holds all of us accountable to one another through the covenanting process. The covenants are our way of showing care, compassion, and connection with each other. It is the power of our faith. We choose to love one another again and again and again, even when we don't deserve it, or at least feel like we don't. All of our complexities and all of the flaws. These are the symbolic coat of many colors. And if there's ever going to be a time for paradise here on earth, we are going to have to be the ones to make it so.
We invite you to rise in body and spirit and join in the singing our closing song. Building a New Way. 10:17, if you're using the book, the words will be on the screen. We are building a new way. We are building free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We are freedom, every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love that is the seed. We can feed our every need. We got freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Stronger every day. We are building a new way.
As we extinguish the chalice, I'll be reading the words by Gary Kowalski, Interfaith Benediction. Gathered in our varied faiths, we give thanks for the blessings of world community as we share our common dream, homes and schools where children thrive, neighborhoods that are safe and clean, a city rich in colors and cultures, an economy where no one is expendable, a beloved community where rich and poor alike have access to the opportunity for a dignified and productive life. Churches, mosques, synagogues, and temples, where our deepest hope is to be of service to a hurting world. Enable us as we leave this place to carry forth this prayer into the coming week, turning our thoughts toward charity, our hearts toward justice, and our hands toward the work of peace. Shalom and amen.